All right, hello, Idiots on Parade, the Too Ugly for TV podcast. We mock the news so you don't have to. Hello, Jake.
How's it going?
All is well here, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jake Vevra, stand-up comedian in New York City. I am Nathan Timmel, stand-up comedian in Iowa City. And Jake, I just want to jump right in with the best thing I have ever seen in my life. I am honestly surprised this is not a bigger news story. It was big for a moment this past week, and then it just seems to have disappeared.
Yeah.
Trump announced an announcement. He came and said, "Hey, I have a big announcement coming tomorrow." And
right.
The world was abuzz. Does he have a running mate? Has he picked a vice president? Is he divorcing Melania and marrying a fourth woman? What could this announcement be?
I mean, after his last announcement, which is I am running for president, even though I'm under a bunch of investigations and tried to overthrow the government last time, you're thinking, well, this announcement's got to be huge.
It's got to be big because you can't, once you say you're announcing for president, the buildup, the hype, you can't, you hype. If you're going to do a pre-announcement, that means what you have to say is pretty big. You don't pre-announce, oh, hey, everybody, yeah, I just paid off my car. Or I have a big announcement tomorrow, and then the next day it's I paid off my car, or I found a coupon for 50% off dry cleaning, something like that.
Sure,
it's got
saved a lot of money by switching to Geico. That kind of thing.
And then he announced his NFT trading cards, his electronic trading cards, and Jake, I mean, my God, they are beautiful. I love them. And I love the announcement. He came out and said, "Hey, everybody, hopefully I'm your favorite president, better than Lincoln, better than Washington." And I love how he does that because you know that there are people who get triggered by that. They get pissed off. How dare he say he's better? I laugh. I love it. But these cards are amazing. It is almost as if someone approached him with a joke idea, a parody. Hey, why don't you make yourself a superhero and shoot lasers from your eyes and make yourself look more buff than Chris Hemsworth? And he went, sure. Like the person was joking. I mean, I hate to say he's a parody of himself. South Park said they would stop making fun of Trump because they couldn't say anything more absurd than anything he does. It's impossible to be more. And he did it. He made these trading cards, and they are just gorgeous. And they sold out in a day. 45,000 of them at $100 a piece. $4.5 million raised just because some guy that dropped out of junior graphic art school drew muscle tits on Trump. Amazing.
That's pretty nuts, man. Yeah, I didn't think people would buy that many, but hey, maybe it's a thing. Although with something like an NFT, the hope is not that someone just buys them, but that people continue buying from each other.
Yeah,
because you make the money when the price goes up.
It is, as they say, an investment.
Right. Yeah, and it's really good for artists too, because unlike a painting where I make a painting, I sell it to you. You then sell that painting to somebody else if you want to. You keep 100% of that profit. With an NFT, a percentage of it goes back to the original artist when it's resold.
Yeah, I mean,
so the idea,
depending on what kind of contract he signed with Trump, because Trump is kind of sketchy when it comes to giving up money.
Oh, yeah. The guy who actually made them will probably get nothing. I'm saying Trump will get a percentage of it.
Right.
If people resell them.
Trump will continue to get paid.
Yes.
He commissioned the artwork. He didn't say, you put this on and we're in it together. Here's $100. You draw these pictures, these computer graphics, and then I sell them and I maintain the rights.
That's right. It was a guy, he drew it in Trump Towers. That means Trump drew the thing. That's the way the contract reads.
By proxy, where you draw it is maintains ownership. But
yeah, 100%, dude. It was sort of like he watched the movie Idiocracy, and he was like, President Herbert Camacho Mountain Dew is the fucking man, and I want to be that guy, and I want to only do shit that guy would do. I'm also going to start riding Harleys, and I'm also going to start shooting saws in the air, randomly during speeches. He's going to do all of that.
I mean, again, I wonder if
I want to be a porn star, not just sleep with porn stars and pay people not to tell them about it. I'm going to pay these porn stars to tell people about it and plug the video.
Yes. I honestly, I bounce back and forth between what I think he does that's serious and what I think he does just to troll people. And he's very good at getting attention. And I wonder if this was just done for attention and the money, because he knows his fans will buy it.
Sure.
And he might be a little disappointed that it didn't get more attention, like more of the hate from the left. The oh my god, I can't believe he's doing this, because he kind of feeds on that at times. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed it wasn't a bigger. Maybe if they had failed, then the media would be reporting like, oh my god, he only sold 1,000. What a dummy! This is the dumbest thing. And the fact that he sold out 45,000. But here's a dumb thing: how do you sell out of something that's digital? You just cap it. It's not like you ran out of physical copies. You decided to sell 45,000 and then stop, because if it's digital, you could say, oh, we're just releasing another 20,000 right now. Like maybe it's to
Yeah.
drive the value up, but
I mean, the idea is that you technically own the rights to that graphic, but here's the thing, and I know it a lot of like huge diehard Trump people are kind of behind the times, but if you type in Google search Trump NFT and then you click on the tablet that says image, I got all of them. I just got all of them for free. I can look at it. There he's a spaceman. There he's a cowboy. On the left there, it's hard to see kind of on YouTube, but here I just bought what is that? 8 Trump NFTs for approximately zero fucking dollars.
a
Maybe
screenshot.
if we factor in my cell phone bill, I paid a few pennies, but I paid very little for these just now.
He's a living Steve Miller Band member, not member. They call him a space cowboy. He's a whatever you just said. You made me think of the Steve Miller.
Oh yeah.
Was it the Joker? That's what you made me think of. He's a space cowboy. He's a superhero.
Oh yeah. Some people call him the space cowboy.
Right.
Some people just call him 45 because they don't want to say his name. Just depends on where you are with that shit. Yeah, I'm looking at these and they're fucking ridiculous. Some of them, he's like dressed like a NASCAR guy.
Yeah.
Another one, he's like holding a football and he looks like a football coach. And it's just sort of all the you know what it is? I mean, he's a cowboy, astronaut. Some of it's just a money one. Some of them he's a big golfer. He's taking all the just sort of, I don't know, man, like right winger stereotypes and making himself that. And it just proves like he doesn't fucking respect these people, man. He's just sort of like, look, you guys like NASCAR, right? You dumb fucking hicks. I wouldn't be caught dead at one of those things. I don't give a shit about NASCAR. I own 17 cars that's worth way more than any of those. So whatever. But you guys like it, you dumb rubes. So here's me. I'm that.
I have to look something up now. Um, I'm Googling because you. No, he did. All right. I was gonna say, did he ever visit a NASCAR event? And he did. He attended the Daytona
Yeah.
500, and he
I mean, look, I'm sure he
sat in a
did.
car.
Just
I
like,
wouldn't
yeah,
have been surprised if he never did, though. I would not have been surprised if he
I
never
wouldn't have been
visited.
shocked, but he did it in the way that he attended church sometimes or held
Yeah.
up that Bible awkwardly in front of that fucking church during that protest. He did it. I'll bet if you asked him who's your favorite NASCAR driver, it would be like when they asked him who's his favorite Bible character or Bible verse or whatever. Oh, I think all the NASCAR drivers are pretty good. That would be some fucking version of that, or it would be one of the
Right.
ones that everybody knows. Oh, Dale Earnhardt. You know what? Oh, yeah, okay.
He was
But
a legend.
yeah, it would be picking dead or retired NASCAR guys as his favorite NASCAR driver, and that would be it, man.
Well, we made fun of NFTs the other week, which is the other part, just how stupid they are. How what you just pointed out that I don't understand the idea of quote owning the picture that anyone can see online because it exists. It's not like it gets locked away like a painting. It still exists, but you quote own your version of it, as do 44,999 other people. But yeah, I love that it shows creative thinking on his part. Maybe they did
Sure.
some research and realized, because we've talked about this in the past, they were sending out 3 emails a day to followers asking for $50 each time, and there were people that were going broke. Maybe fundraising ran dry, so now he's got to sell them something. So instead of just asking for money, hey, now you buy this.
Yeah, I mean, just like any crypto, it's like, listen, I know that I'm basically charging you $99 for nothing, for
Yeah.
digital nothing, but it's not because I think you're stupid. It's because I think that there's somebody stupider than you that's going to give you $199 for this. So what you need to do, stupid guy, is you need to find somebody even stupider, and you're going to make a lot of money. And you know what? For all that shit that I'm talking right now, all that bad shit I just said, the people that did that very early on with crypto, with Bitcoin, with all that, they're billionaires, man.
They're rich as shit.
Yeah, I mean, even though, Bitcoin has dropped from what it was, it's still what, like tens of thousands of dollars for one.
I thought it was 17,000 the last I looked. Anybody that had it when it was $1, or if you remember, people were buying pizza using Bitcoin. Now it's worth $17,000. We can make all the fun in the world, but we missed the boat.
I mean, yeah, but the same thing is true with, like, as we've pointed out, gambling, is the guy who put his rent money on 37 in roulette a genius when it hits? No, he's dumb as fuck, but he got crazy lucky. And one out of, I don't know, with 40 other times, however many of those things are, he'd be a moron. But
Yep. All right, moving on to the next story. Jake, you fucking called this. You called it so hard. We talked about Elon buying Twitter, and you said, okay, he says he's for free speech, but what happens when something he doesn't like happens? Well, holy shit, he suspended some reporters this week, and his flimsy ass excuse for doing so is not holding up under any scrutiny. If anybody has missed this story, there was a Twitter account. I don't remember what it's called. It's called like Elon Musk Flight Tracker, where this kid, just a kid, like 17, 18, 19, 20 years, he was just a kid, took public data that showed like air flight patterns or paths. And if Elon flew to Miami, he would say, hey, Elon's in Miami. And that's public. So Elon was pissed at that kid. And I can see being pissed at someone following your every move, even if you're
it's a little doxy adjacent. Yeah.
Yes, it is doxy adjacent. That's a good way of putting it. But what he did this week is, and I listened to a full 30-minute podcast on this where they broke it down, reporters who said, hey, there's a kid that follows his plane. They got suspended for doxing adjacent because they didn't talk about where his plane was. They just talked about the kid doing it, and he called that doxing and suspended them. And that's, you don't say plane kid's
name. You only call him plane kid. That's it. Yeah. You don't say his actual. I ain't saying his actual name right now because I'm going to retweet this podcast when it comes.
Yes,
out. I ain't fucking around with plane kid.
Also, because we don't know his name.
Yeah,
that's the other reason. But apparently, did you see that Europe jumped in on this? The instant he suspended the reporters, European watchdogs or actual leaders said, Elon, just a heads up, if you pull that shit again, you will face very serious fines or have Twitter shut down in Europe, or like they are not fucking around. If he wants to fuck with actual free speech, like reporting, they're going to levy fines on Twitter. And this is where it gets interesting.
It's so weird because when he's running electronic car companies, he's like Michael Jordan playing basketball. But when he's running social media companies, he's like Michael Jordan for the White Sox. It's kind of not the same fucking thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Michael Jordan for the Wizards. I thought you were going to say after the fact. Yeah.
He played baseball. A lot of people like to forget about that.
Did he make it to the White Sox? Or he was just on the farm team, wasn't he?
No, he played for the White Sox.
Did he? I thought he just made it to the farm team. I didn't.
No. He was. Now, I mean, I could be dead wrong on this, but unless they also have one called the White Sox, that's a farm team. I don't follow baseball enough. I
neither do I, especially not baseball from 30 years ago.
No. Yeah. I wasn't sitting there watching all of Michael Jordan's baseball games live. What kind of fucking psycho does something like that?
No one did. Air Jordan did his time on the ground in a stint with the White Sox as a light-hitting rookie in Double-A ball. So, yeah, he did not. He was signed to the organization, but he never made it on a pro field. He played for their farm teams. I could be wrong, but that's what I remembered, and that's what this is sort of backing up, this quick Google. But either way,
I don't know what the fuck a farm team is. I didn't know they grow them. They grow baseball players now, and they're getting mad at them for taking.
You know what they do? No, Jake. They groom them. All we talk about these days is grooming. No one's talking about how they groom these baseball players to become professionals. I think we should do some investigative reporting here, just because the word is so popular and prevalent these days.
It is. Have we talked about that on this podcast before?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's wild the journey that the term grooming took in the last, I don't know, year and a half.
Yeah.
Before a year and a half ago, if you said that guy's a groomer, that was a very specific thing that said he's trying to get a kid drunk to fuck it. Like that's what it meant. Like that's what it. Now it just means if, and then it kind of
Did you just get
evolved to
that
where it's like,
backwards? A
what?
year ago, groomer meant someone that like did hairstyles and got you pretty.
Oh,
Now it
no,
means,
no, no. That was still a term. That was still a term back
oh,
then. Grooming. Yeah, it was like basically getting a kid, kind of like buttering them up or whatever, and making them feel comfortable so you can molest them. Now,
I honestly thought that was the new version because I had never heard that till a year and a half ago. I always
well,
thought
no,
grooming
they've
meant
been
like a dog
you haven't
groomer or
heard it
shit
till a
like
year and a
that.
half ago because they've been expanding the fucking definition so much that now it could mean that you are a drag queen reading a book to a kid in a library, or it could mean that you are a middle management guy who had sex with a 24-year-old intern. Like
Right.
it could be anything at this point.
Or
So
a
yeah,
Disney employee that just fucking stands there and says feet behind the line, feet behind the line. Just because you
yeah,
work at Disney, suddenly you're a groomer because the whole Disney company is groomer. Like
right.
Disney, it's lost
The
all
word
meaning,
means
I guess.
nothing now. And that used to be a serious fucking. If you called that to somebody who wasn't, like you said, a fucking hairstylist or something, that was like, whoa, like that was some shit, a couple years ago. Now it's just like,
Well, see, like I said, honestly, a couple of years ago, I only thought it applied to physical appearance. I never heard it in relation to prepping someone like dangerous liaisons or old Victorian
yeah.
where they would prepare them for matrimony to
Yeah,
an
no,
underage.
that's why the English language is so fucking stupid, is because there's so many dual meanings for words that are completely different. Like imagine you've just escaped to Ukraine or something, and now you're over here trying to perform professionally in a new land that you barely were able to escape to. Your trade that was passed down to you for generations. You cut hair for a living. And then they come to you and they say, well, what do you do? What do you do all day? I'm groomer. What? You mean you groom kids? Yes, I groom kids. Anybody who comes in. Like what?
Yes.
It's fucking confusing.
Yep. And then you're in trouble, and then you're canceled.
All of
Yep.
a sudden, but yeah, they're throwing rocks at you and calling you Kevin Spacey. You're like, what? I was just trying to give high and tight, same cut everybody in Ukraine has. I give it to you for very cheap.
Very cheap. We've sidetracked though. Do you as I said when I started this segment, you called it on Elon Musk. What does he really want? Now, it would be absurd to say he spent $44 billion just so he could ban plainkid.com, the Twitter
Yeah,
handle. But it is what you said in that
a
he
little
wants
bit.
control. He wants, like, I do like this, I don't
Yes,
like this, as much as he screams free speech unless you're making fun of me, free speech
right.
unless you're reporting about me, free speech. Anything that seems to involve him, I mean, free speech when he tweets out the absurd conspiracy theories he's been tweeting out for a couple of weeks,
Right.
and then deleting. It's like he tweets something horrible and then deletes it as soon as he gets called out. But then, yeah, this is, I don't want.
Yeah, everyone loves free speech when they got the fucking microphone in front of them.
Yeah, but
It's everyone's pro free speech until you hear something you don't like. That's when it's oh, it's misinformation, it's fake news, it's hate speech, whatever.
it is, and I guess the overall problem, if you want to call it that, is should Twitter have the fucking importance and reach it does? Why are we getting our news or our opinions from whatever it is now, not 140 characters anymore, but
Well,
how did it become so big when it is so stupid?
it's pretty ridiculous, yeah, and it shows you how we as sort of a society should kind of take the onus on ourselves to not kind of like base our whole existence on social media, unless you're following idiots on parade. Then yeah,
Well,
yeah,
of
man,
course.
fucking spend all the time, yeah, like it, share it, do all that. But yeah, no, I've been, here's the thing, I feel like I'm kind of fucking wrong on that guy. Like I was right a little bit
All
about it, but
right.
I was wrong in that I thought he wanted control, because I was like, you don't spend, as you're saying, 44 billion to retweet Jordan Peterson. You don't spend, even if I don't care if you are the richest man on the planet, you don't. That is the biggest purchase, biggest single purchase of all time. Now, if you would have told me before that, hey man, there's about to be a $44 billion purchase, biggest one of all time, what do you think it's going to be? I'd be like, oh shit, I don't know, man. Oil rights, mining rights, something. A social media company. And that's not, at that point, you don't want it just to let people back on because you feel you're the My Pillow guy and you want everybody to have free speech or whatever. Or you're just all about this one politician or whatever. You want to control other people. And I thought it was a matter of, well, he wants to shut people up who are going to be talking shit about his companies or what companies he's going to have a few years down the road that we don't know about. And, did you just say that workers for this mining operation are being, killed or whatever? That's Russian misinformation, and I'm taking that off my fucking platform. Did you just say that the Tesla vaccine is dangerous? That's more just regular COVID misinformation. The picture of that guy with a fucking tumor growing out of his eyeball, that was fucking photoshopped by the Kremlin. This is just like when they talk shit about Pfizer. So that's kind of where my mind went.
Right, but this is where it begins. He's showing that. So I don't think you were wrong, but keep going. Go ahead.
I still think I'm wrong on that because I'm right in the fact that he wanted to keep people off of it that he didn't like.
Right.
But I was wrong in the fact that he was using it for just the nefarious purposes that I was talking about. And because if that was the case, he would not be making this such a focal point that he is. He would not be shaking Twitter up so much. He would want business as usual because he would want all the fucking users still using it, as opposed to this is now just a right-wing site, or this is now just a fucking, like independent, like libertarian, whatever. He would not be politicizing this as much. It would be like hey, see guys, it's just business as normal. There's a little more people back on than there was before, but hey, I got the left wing on too. And that's why people weren't flocking to Truth Social and all that other bullshit that the right wanted to kind of do, and that Trump himself had people invest in. And it's ironically the reason he can't tweet now is because he's fucking contracted to Truth Social that he can't, is because nobody wants to go to just their own bubble. Yeah, you are in Twitter. If you're a super politicized person, you're a super political person, whatever, you do tend to talk to a lot of your own people, but other people are on there too. From the other side.
And I fully admit that whenever I get a Dinesh D'Souza or a Jim Jordan in my feed, which happens, or a Lauren Boebert, sometimes I just poke back. And I know that it's farting into the wind and nobody cares what I have to say. But when I see a stupid tweet, I point out, yeah, Jim, but you let wrestlers get molested. And that's it.
People want to fight.
Yeah, people like anger. People love. And that goes back to where we started with Trump and his cards. There, people were like, I can't believe he's doing this. Yeah, you can. He's doing it because you're getting angry and he's getting talked about. We're talking about it. We're just dispassionate. We find everything funny and stupid.
Now, the only people I feel bad about for the NFT are the people that are in prison for January 6th. You know what I mean? I saw a headline the other day that said, I didn't click on the article, but it said, I'm going to jail for January 6th so that he could sell NFTs. Like, yeah, I'd be fucking pissed, man. I don't, you did that. That was your revolution. A $99 picture of him with spaceman helmets on. Like that's what it was. That's what he wanted to do. He pardoned his buddy on his last day in office, Steve Bannon, whose crime was ripping you guys off, taking money he said he was going to build a wall and building himself a yacht. So he didn't pardon any of you guys when he had the chance. He's saying it now. He's been a little quiet for the last 2 years for somebody who had the election stolen from him. That would be kind of like George Washington letting the Boston Tea Party guys just kind of get hung while he did nothing and got blown by Martha Washington or whatever on a golf course. Like he wouldn't, like that's what he's doing if he was telling the truth. So there's no good way to spin it if you're one of the January 6th guys.
The only problem I have with that is I doubt Melania blows him. So it wouldn't be Martha Washington. It would be his side piece. It would be his prostitute, because that's Donald probably gets blowjobs, but it's not Melania. I meant to say
Stormy Daniels' great grandmother. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Olga Van Daniels. Yeah.
I hear where you're coming from, and it probably makes me a bad person, less sympathetic than I should be, less empathetic than I should be. I don't feel really all that bad for the January 6th people because they had nonstop information. Oh, Trump is a bad person. They just refused to listen. It's one of those things where only when it hit them in the face that they went, oh, wait, he betrayed us. Yeah, that was known ever since the first, when he appeared on the scene and was filing for bankruptcy and people were suing him to pay his bills. You've always known he was like this. You're just stunned it happened to you. But wait, I'm one of your sycophants. Don't you take care of me? No, he takes care of himself. So I don't feel bad for them. They just learned a very harsh lesson because they were not willing to open their eyes.
I mean, they're definitely shitheads, but I still feel like we kind of write it off as what you just said. Anybody who's, on the left or even in the middle or even like just a fucking conservative moderate,
Yeah.
But what we write that guy off as just like you said, some fucking scammer, some whatever, like he's a conspiracy theorist on 4chan or something. Which, hey, man, in many ways he is. That's why we talk about him like that. But we tend to just kind of forget like that man was the president of the United States. Those people didn't storm the Capitol because of what some guy on 8chan or Alex Jones said. They stormed it because of what the president of the United States, the highest authority in the land, said to them. I'm only shocked that there wasn't more of them. I'm not saying they shouldn't face consequences, especially and when I'm talking about some of them should fucking get it easy or whatever, I'm not talking about anybody who assaulted a cop or whatever the fuck. Different story, especially that one that died, different fucking story. But I mean, in that sense, I think it should be like any other fucking protest or whatever you want to point at in the last few years where, hey, yeah, man, a lot of them just fucking showed up. Some of them broke some shit. Some of them assaulted cops. And then those guys get treated different, but you don't paint the whole fucking group like that. At that point, to me, these are people who followed what the highest political officer in the land had to say, and they're the ones getting prosecuted and not him. So it just and all the fucking congressmen, all the Republican governors, whatever, who at the time were still promoting the fucking lie that Joe Biden lost the election.
Yeah, it didn't certify the election. Yeah,
fucking faked tens of thousands of ballots because at that point, if you believe what Trump said, you should storm the Capitol. Now they weren't just told that by Trump; they were told that by a bunch of congressmen, senators, governors. Those people are the ones who fucking caused January 6th. Not a single one of them is being prosecuted. All the people who followed him. And again, they didn't just do it because Alex Jones told them to or some wacky conspiracy theorists. They did it because they're elected officials, state officials, federal officials, the highest political office in the land said your election was being stolen from you. I'm shocked that out of the 70 plus million people that voted for him, only a few thousand showed up. Again, that to me is why it shows me like no one is fucking backing this guy in the Republican Party anymore. But they can't be too loud and vocal about it because otherwise they're fucking loudmouth, smug liberal niece with the purple hair on Facebook is going to be like, see, I told you so. But the silent majority stayed the fuck home on January 6th, and the silent majority only voted for Republicans in the midterm who weren't backed on Trump and weren't fucking going crazy with the election denial. And that's why no mainstream Republicans are fucking talking about that shit at all.
Yeah, well, but we did talk about that a little. There are a couple who have openly said, because I remember the headline, it said, after the election, is Trump's support finally waning among the, not base, but among the politicians, the standard, because they were talking about, well, maybe it's time to bring in Ron DeSantis. And it's like, finally, so they are finally.
Here's why the politicians still might have to fucking have his back. And this is a big problem. One of the big glaring loopholes in the two-party system is that if a crazy person gets enough support in your party, you may have to kowtow to that person out of the fear that they will go independent and split your fucking vote. And now you're screwed in the general election. Kristen Sinema's doing that on the left, and it's a smaller version of that. It might not work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very much smaller version, but yeah, she just went independent because she wanted to. And it's funny because when you study her, she's done it before. She went from Green to Democrat to win, and now that she's a Democrat, she's going independent to maintain. She has no loyalties other than to herself.
No, she started off a super liberal. I'm the first bisexual woman in the Senate or whatever. And then now it's like, she don't even talk about that. And
Yeah.
she's voting with Republicans on shit. And it's fucking wild. And, but that is a little bit of that's much less because A, it's a senator, and B, it's just her being like a moderate or like a conservative Democrat.
It's
Whereas this is like a nutty fucking guy who tried to have people overthrow the goddamn government, or like she's not as crazy as Donald Trump, but it's like you have to now worry about, any third party that's kind of on my side of the aisle, that's basically the other side now, because they're taking my votes. And I either have to completely fucking destroy that person, or I have to kowtow them and just give them the fucking nomination, because they will split the vote if they go independent.
It's what just happened in Israel twice.
Yeah.
Last election, there were three factions that combined to beat Netanyahu. So what he did in this election is he went hard right, and so he united the Trump side, the crazy side,
Yeah.
to win, and Netanyahu is back in as prime minister, because I mean they're just flipping back and forth. They will go to the side or to the extremes or to the fringe just to unite and say, hey, everyone, this is who you got to vote for, because everyone else is against us.
Right. Because it's the fringe people that are fucking crazy enough that and don't give a shit, that they're like, hey, screw you, man. If you don't give me the nomination, I'll just go independent and fucking drain your votes. I don't give a fuck,
All right, let's bang out three quick stories that we don't need to do. First of all, thousands of youths are compelled to join military's junior ROTC. What's that?
Two youths.
There you go, Mike. Either way, look, they say they show up and they have these classes already predetermined and they didn't want them. When they try and drop, they refuse. All we hear about, Jake, is rising obesity rates in America. I think they should be forced to join ROTC. Doesn't mean they have to join the military. It's an extra gym class. Deal with it. That's my stance.
Yeah, but can't you just do an extra gym class without it having to be ROTC?
Oh, I'm just giving shit. Like, I don't understand how this happens, though. Like, how do you say, nope, you cannot drop a class you did not sign up for? And this is suspiciously close to a draft. This really is grooming. Weird. You get them in an ROTC class. This is grooming right here. Hey, you should join the military. It's pretty fun. Isn't it awesome? You feel special. You wear a uniform.
Get down and push up position and oil yourself. I said oil yourself. Yeah.
You are former military. Any thoughts before we quick move on?
It's pretty goddamn weird. I would argue it will have the opposite effect, because
you force a kid to do something and they're done.
It'll make me definitely not want to do it if I'm forced to go to a military class in college. And look, man, I know why they're doing it. Recruiting rates are down, and they've tried to blame all kinds of other shit for that, all kinds of goofy stuff.
Video games.
Oh, the soldiers don't like the new woke regulations, or they don't like that there's a vaccine mandate. And it's like, hey, you know why I'm going to tell my kid never, ever to join the fucking army? Because I was part of a 20-year war that just basically made 7 guys in Texas and Connecticut rich. So you can throw all that other shit out there. That's why it's fucking dropping. We just spent 20 years in a place where, hey, man, I know we initially kind of had to go over, but like,
to one of the two countries we had to go over. But it's dropping for another reason.
Insane, and it ended fucking horribly. And so, if you're joining at this point, it's not to keep Americans from speaking Afghani. No, you're doing it for people who run the military industrial complex, making them a lot of fucking money. And that's what it's about, dude. And they'll pay for your college. They'll give you money. They'll whatever. That's what it's about. And so that's why recruiting is dipped. It's you see all those guys
And
hanging off the planes in Afghanistan. That was from our wonderful military spending 20 years there. That was the fucking outcome.
yep.
That's the good we were able to do in that time. So yeah, you're gonna have problems recruiting, and this isn't gonna solve that fucking problem.
It's dropping for another reason, and I have said this on this podcast before. I did not sign up for the military because once I saw, I believe it was a Full Metal Jacket and the open air shitters, I'm like, nope, I am out. I am not taking a
Oh yeah.
shit in just a full on room surrounded by guys brushing their teeth. I want a stall, and then I will take a shit or a bathroom. Once I saw all the toilets lined up, I'm like, I'm out.
Open air shitters are pretty rough. I didn't have to do a ton of those, but it was the times we had to do it was
All
pretty
right.
fucking awful.
Couple more. One, Prince Harry and Meghan's docuseries broke Netflix's records. I even hate talking about this. Why the fuck is anybody watching these two assholes? She seems like a horrible human being. I don't know his story, but why the fuck are we obsessed with these people? I do not get it.
It's ridiculous, man. I am so disappointed. I loved that their podcast tanked. I loved that the media tried pushing these people on us, and we were like, yeah, we don't give a fuck about the royal family. Or
And
some
then this.
actress that goes over and goes, I didn't know I had to wear fancy dresses. I didn't know people would take pictures of me. Like, I didn't. Yeah, of course. Like, what are you talking about? The fact that people are interested in that shit at all is beyond me.
It is. Again, two more. Huge
I mean,
Berlin.
her joining the royal family, her going and being married into the royal family and not expecting the shit that she got. You know what I mean?
And him not warning her, hey, they killed my mom. That kind of happened. Yeah.
It's like, and the things that she's bringing up as like, and this is going to sound fucking shitty or whatever, but the things that her
I had to curtsy.
I had to curtsy. They asked me what color the baby would be. It's like this family colonized entire continents, and I would expect more out of them, honestly, in terms of racism, and then in terms of like, yeah, being in the public eye, and the queen being a bit of a cunt. She killed that kid's mother in a tunnel in Paris and blamed it on the paparazzi. She's not the nicest lady. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Huge
Too bad
Berlin,
you only got a castle out of the deal, huh?
A huge Berlin aquarium burst, unleashing a flood of devastation. A 5-story, 264,000 gallon aquarium burst. And so, of course, at the bottom of the story, there is PETA, who says the aquarium was a death trap. This man-made tragedy shows that aquariums are not a safe place for fish and other marine life. Hey, PETA, thanks for jumping in on that. Aquariums. I'm going to go upstairs and make my daughter cry and tell her we have to get rid of her goldfish now. Fuck off, PETA. You have too much time on your hands. Is it horrible that all those fish died? Yeah. Did anybody that owned the fish tank think it was funny and go, hey, let's trap these fish and hope they die someday? No. What a dumb statement by them.
Yeah, PETA's sort of a weird thing where
30 seconds.
They started off just kind of going, we want to stop horrible factory farming practices. And then, it ended up
now it's aquariums.
Dalmatians are slightly uncomfortable in this type of color. You people are worse than Nazis. And it's like, what? They went so fucking extreme in that direction. It's insane.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for listening on Chicago's Comedy Scene Radio. If you heard us there, forgot to say that up front. If you watched us on YouTube, thanks for watching. Jake, good seeing your face. I will talk to you,
you too.
In a little
Sorry
while.
for the bad lighting this week. I just moved to a new place. So.
It's all good. Enjoy your new apartment.
Later.